You're listening to the Fantasy Football Podcast with Charles Barr and John Chapman.
Unique New York.
That's how we're starting our podcast with Will Ferrell warm-ups to a fake character named Ron Burgundy, and I'm not even mad.
The Human Torch received a bank loan today.
All right, Chuck, so what do we got this week, man?
Here we go, man. Episode 21 dedicated to 21st and Prime beef. Man, I want to start out by talking about Deon Sanders and Tony Romo just beefing.
Man, so here's the deal. There are a few things in this world that I despise more than Cowboys, period, and Deon Sanders. I understand that he helped the Niners win a Super Bowl, but man, he is just amazing football player and amazing corner, but such a terrible human being. And I love that Tony Romo, who's a great, absolutely my favorite analyst right now in the game that's doing in-game stuff. So absolutely awesome. So he calls out Deon Sanders, which was just great, and he decided to respond. I'll let you take this one, Chuck.
Yeah, so he decided to respond because he said, essentially Tony Romo was, first of all, he probably wasn't thinking, all right? It was just a gut thing he was saying, and he said about a corner tackling, he goes, that's almost as bad as tackling as Deon Sanders, which, that hurts, okay? But
Deon true.
True. And then Deon came at him pretty hard back and said, you ain't done nothing. You know, you've only won 2 games in the playoffs. I got a gold jacket I didn't buy myself. And I was like, ugh. Like, honestly, like, I wish that, like, it would have been like a Drake Meek Mill, freestyle battle. But it wasn't. I just love it that there's some tension in the Cowboys world. That makes me happy.
It does. And I'll say this. Deon Sanders is going to take every opportunity to make every single situation about nobody else but himself. Whether it's the combine, if he's just talking anywhere in public. The dude is so much trash as a human being. Amazing cornerback and can cover. But he even said, Tony Romo quoted him. Because whenever he was playing, Deon Sanders said, man, I don't get paid to tackle. That ain't what I'm doing. That's the other guy's job. Like, he quoted Deon, and Deon took it as an insult. It just goes to show you, like, if I'm defending Tony Romo, like, you got to know that the other person's wrong.
Hey, but for real, though, what you said, Tony Romo, he is doing amazing as an analyst, and I've seen some people criticize him. They're like, oh, he's talking too much about the X's and the O's.
Jeez,
sorry.
No.
For somebody who played the game of football, loves the game of football, you can't talk about the X's and O's enough.
No, and that's the thing. It shows you what film does, because how he knows all the different plays and kind of what's happening before it happens is because he spends time watching the film. And he's a person that's done it professionally, and it shows whenever he does his in-game commentary. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Last thing on Romo, I don't think we've seen the last of him on the field. Just kind of some of the comments, you can kind of still see he maybe wants it. But let me say this. The Cowboy drama isn't over. Have you heard some of these reports about the owners being pissed off at Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones is a child, man.
Yes!
And I kind of enjoy this, how he not only is holding up the extension of Goodell, but he also leaked the request that Goodell wanted, Roger Goodell, for his contract extension to turn the public against him. And it is working.
Can we just do a prank? I don't know, everyone who hates the Cowboys, can we all send Jerry Jones to his house on November 30th? 10 Papa John's pizzas, everybody all at once, and just an army of Papa John's pizza come to his house would be amazing.
That's a mess. Anyway, let's get on to some fantasy football stuff.
Let's do that. But first, before we do that,
I like how this episode, let's just keep talking about fun stuff. Sorry, all you people listening for advice. You can fast forward, but
or not. You can listen. This is cool. So if you paid attention to our Twitter last week, which probably you didn't, there's a video that John and I both shared. I lost a bet. Sammy
Watkins, I love you because you're terrible.
Because you're not terrible. Jared Goff's not looking at you. But anyways, he didn't get 4 catches, so then I had to sing the Take Me Out to the Ball game with 10 warheads in my mouth.
It was wonderful. I've shown it to my coworkers, to my children, to my wife. It's just absolute comedic gold. You have to go watch this damn video.
Well, I can still feel it. Like, no joke. Like, my mouth and my tongue are still sore, and it hits around the middle mark of that song, and I'm in pain.
You did wonderful, man. I was very impressed, I'll be honest with you. And you were a champ. You fought through to the end.
We're going to have to think of a bet. We didn't prepare.
We did not.
All right.
We did not.
Let's move on. Let's actually get into some news that matters. Let's start with Devontae Freeman, his concussion, how that's going to impact things.
Okay, so this is huge for several reasons. One, the Falcons' offense is legit. It's nowhere near what it was last year. But if you remember, right before the season started, Devontae Freeman had a concussion in the second week of the preseason, and he was out for a very long time. He's had concussions in the past, but this is now his second one this year. Now, he doesn't play until Monday night, but I'm telling you right now, I do not think he is going to clear the concussion protocol. He's going to be out for at least 1 week, possibly more. And if that is the case, I'm telling you right now, Tevin Coleman is an absolute stud for at least 1 week, maybe 2 weeks moving forward. Now, they have Seattle, but again, that Seattle defense isn't what it used to be. So just understand, like, Tevin Coleman is going to be a top 5 running back as long as Devontae Freeman is out. And quick side note, and this is a stat to bring the entire fantasy world back to the 49ers. If Freeman misses a game, he has the second longest active starting streak for running backs with 30 games. So he's started 30 straight games, which is phenomenal. Do you know who the number one, I kind of already gave it away, who's the number one guy with the most consecutive starts at the running back position?
Who's the guy you love to bring up in every podcast?
It's freaking Frank Gore. I love you, Frank. I love you, Frank. He has, now here's the deal. Number 2, 30 games for the running back. Number 1, Frank Gore, 102 consecutive starts.
That's amazing.
3 times longer than the last guy. Now, I got this stat from Greg Rosenthal, so I'll throw that out, give him his props. I saw that on Twitter and just had to include it somehow.
All right, man. I'm glad we already finally got in our Frank Gore reference. Good, we can get that off of our chest.
There's more 49ers stuff like coming out. I think I'm going to title this episode as 49ers are now the Super Bowl favorite.
Or John's 49er Pod Rush, or Podcast Rush extension.
I'll take it. Hey, I'll take it.
All right, man. This next one killed me. Aaron Jones and Ty Montgomery go down. This hurt.
And it's bad. Luckily, we just had the press conference a few hours ago, and I read the transcript. McCarthy came out and basically shorthand said Aaron Jones's injury is multiple weeks, and Ty Montgomery is possible to play this week. So Aaron Jones, he messed up his MCL, and they're saying about a 3 to 6 week timeline. Like, he could be done for the year, to be honest with you. Ty Montgomery, he had rib issues, and he left, but he's probably going to play. The ribs are just 100% of pain tolerance. If you can handle making all the awkward cuts and movements and taking contact, it's just pure pain. Like, it is one of the worst injuries, but it doesn't have a lasting kind of, it doesn't affect your running ability. Now, Ty Montgomery is probably going to play, so I'm just holding the fact out that he is playing this week. Having said that, Jamal Williams is now a must-add, and we'll talk about this in our waiver wires, in almost every single format. Because if he's the guy, man, that offense, it has PPR aspirations. They run it towards the goal line. Like, I understand Aaron Rodgers isn't there, but if you have a starting running back, you got to get him. Every single starting running back needs to be owned.
I just want to say, though, he doesn't look good, but you need him. He didn't look shifty enough. He didn't look quick enough. He was running into the back of offensive linemen.
I do agree.
I'll start him if I have to. It's just not – he doesn't look great. He's not going to be a starter for anybody anytime soon. Really.
Yeah, you're talking like flex potential, right? And so you've got a guy that you can put in there as a flex, or if you've got somebody that's out with an injury. But, I mean, the thing is, 20 rushes. He came in, 20 rushes, 67 yards, and he had a catch. So if you have anybody that's going to get 20 targets, you have to be ecstatic about that. As a flex late in the season. So he's definitely worth owning. Ty Montgomery is going to be the play there. If not this week, 2 and 3 weeks out, he's going to be an RB2 probably. But go get this guy. Go get him. And we'll talk more about waivers here in a little bit, but I can't help myself.
Another irrelevant running back, but not really. Rob Kelly, he goes down. Tell us a little bit about his injury.
Plural. His injuries. Like he got messed up. It's called FUBAR. He sprained his MCL as well and a high ankle sprain. Like his leg basically bent in half and just looked really, really bad. Now, here's the deal though. Like if we look at it, he had 4 carries on the very first drive and got hurt. Now, Samaje Perine comes in and got a lot of playing time, 9 carries. And I think that, man, they love having a first and second down runner and then bringing in the third down Chris Thompson. Now, obviously, Chris Thompson should get the ball way the hell more than they're doing, but for some reason, they just do not want to break with the formula they have. So, Samaje Perine, he's going to be a factor. Rob Kelly, again, he's going to be out for some time because they brought in 2 guys today. Ronnie Hillman, oh my God, that just makes me want to throw up in my mouth, and Daryl Richardson. So, they're projecting this guy to be out. So, it's going to be interesting. And just for everybody else wants to know, Drake just broke a huge touchdown in the Miami game, and I just won several fantasy leagues as a result of that. So I'll just leave that there.
Double rainbow for
Boom!
you.
I'm dancing. I want some money. YouTube, you're welcome for that. Please, just leave that alone.
Yeah, seriously. Could we get that in a GIF? So another guy who was kind of irrelevant due to injuries, Will Fuller, but he's in some pain.
Dude, Will Fuller, again, whenever he got hit, it just looked bad. Luckily, it was just cracked ribs, which sounds so like I'm a huge piece of shit for saying that. Oh, it's just cracked ribs, as I sit in my comfy padded chair. But yeah, he got hit pretty hard, but he might not be out that long. The thing is, though, Will Fuller is basically non-startable moving forward. Flex option at best, and you have to throw out the Will Fuller with Deshaun Jackson. That does not exist anymore. It just doesn't. It's a completely different player.
I've definitely seen some of these backup QBs come in and go, yeah, I think you're going to get dropped after this year because you're not what people predicted you to be. And Tom Savage is one of those guys.
They've already announced that they're staying with him moving forward. And I just don't understand why they're doing this. It makes zero sense. There are guys out there that are available to play, and this just does not seem like one of those options. I don't
Citizen
know.
of the Year, Colin Kaepernick.
Hey, man, I love that guy.
So do I. He deserved it. All right, Phillip Rivers is in concussion.
Yeah,
here we go.
Protocol. He finished the whole game and nothing was said. And if you watch the game, I cannot believe the Jags won that. You're going to win that damn bet.
Woo!
Oh, gosh. But anyway, like you saw Phillip Rivers on the sideline doing his usual, like, oh my God, this sucks, like pissed off face. And the game ends and all that stuff. And then he starts having symptoms. And he said he's never had a concussion in his life. This is the first time he's ever gone through this. So who knows if he's going to play. Their backup quarterback is Kellen Clemens. And they play the Bills, who just came off like getting trounced. So
yeah, that surprised me.
The Saints are really that good. The Saints defense is really that good. The Saints defense is amazing. Very impressive. They have the best corner in the NFL. I've said Patrick Peterson is the best corner for the past 5 years. He no longer is. The rookie Marshawn Lattimore is that freaking good.
Man,
he's the best cornerback I think in the NFL. He's played that way this year. If I'm playing for this year, I'd probably still take Patrick Peterson, but Marshawn Lattimore is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, he ain't scared of nobody either.
I love it.
Not AJ Green. Again, this is the year. I feel like our injury section just gets longer and longer. This is the year.
It's a bad one, man. They listed an all-pro roster of all the people that are on IR, and it is better than any NFL team. It's unreal. It's like a Madden team.
Yeah. Does it have anything to do with Trump being president? Anyways. All right. Alan Hearn's ankle, he is on crutches.
He left on crutches. Now, nobody knows about the severity of this. It hasn't been released kind of what happened. but he's not going to be playing. My guess is best case, high ankle sprain. Worst case could be a broken something or other. But here's why this is so stinking important. It's important for two people. Number one, Marquise Lee continues to ball out no matter how stupid he is if you watch that penalty at the end of the game. But number two, and this is my number one waiver wire, oh my gosh, win a fantasy football league with this pick, and everybody will remember this one time it happened. And that is D.D. Westbrook. The rookie that out of OU, he's a terrible human being, 2-time Ray Lewis Award winner. You can go look up the details on why he deserves that award. But he is an absolute freak. Biletnikoff Award winner as the best receiver, Heisman finalist, and he's been on IR. They almost activated him last week, but they decided to wait off one more week, and now they're bringing him back. He is going to be starter day one. And
do you think?
Go ahead.
Do you think that he's going to have that kind of impact right off the bat, though?
Here's why I think he is. Because the targets are everywhere with this offense. And guess who they get to play this week?
Oh, man, yeah.
Cleveland Browns. And then on top of that, they just lost the guy they traded for New England, Jamie Collins, for the rest of the year. So they're even worse now. You start every player for the Jags this upcoming week, and that breaks my heart to say because I hate Blake Bortles and his face and his arm and the Jaguars' terrible uniform. I hate all these things. The only thing I like about the Jaguars is their owner's mustache, which is legit. I kind of like that. Man,
of all things to like.
Reminds me of an uncle.
What's your internet history like? Okay.
It's dark, brother.
It's dark. Mustaches. Oh. All right, so, man, what a beautiful moment. Being totally legit here to see Teddy Bridgewater. I just want to say that was really cool to see when he was activated.
Yeah, broke down on the sidelines, man, and cried, which was, it's funny. I remember if you go back to crying in football and Brandon Marshall and kind of the comments that he's made, dude, it's okay to be emotional in a positive way. It's not a big deal. And Teddy B is a guy that you want to root for. Everybody was saying he was never going to play again and that his career was over after that injury. But here he is. He's activated. Now, the thing is, he ain't going to play. Case Keenum is killing it. Oh, my gosh. I cannot believe the way he played. And they've already come out and say that we're going to kind of roll with Case Keenum. As long as he's playing like this, we're just going to stay with him. And so it's just kind of what it is. Hopefully, Teddy Bridgewater will get to play at some point. If Case Keenum does go to old Case Keenum, then that's one thing. But, man, those receivers... You could make an argument. I won't. I don't think they're the best. But you could say they are the best receiving core in the entire NFL, which is crazy.
I feel like that Stephon Diggs has come out and said this year, I'm an elite receiver. I don't care if you don't put me up there with the big names. He has dealt with some injuries, but when this guy is healthy, he is a problem. Josh Norman has been a fantastic corner all year, shutting down guys left and right, and Diggs showed him a thing or two.
He absolutely owned him. And this is crazy. I was going to talk about this a little bit later on in the podcast, but we're talking about it now. If you look at the top 4 wide receivers in receiving yards, freaking Thielen is third. It goes Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen. That doesn't even make sense.
You were not a believer in Thielen.
No, I was not. I don't know what it is. One, I wasn't a believer in Thielen because I'm not a believer in the quarterback or the offense of the Vikings. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. They were awesome under Sammy Biscuits, and they are awesome under freaking this Joe Knows Case Keenum goofball. And so you got to give credit where credit's due. There's something to be said for crisp route running and great hands. And Thielen doesn't have the speed, but he runs perfect routes and he catches anything that's anywhere close to him. And so, props, man.
Last injury we'll just kind of touch on. Curtis Samuel just carried off the field.
It looked bad, and basically he had 2 coaches, one on each side. It was a lower leg injury. Not quite sure the specifics, but they basically carried him into the locker room. The injury happened in the end zone right by where they go into the locker room. So they didn't bring the cart out. Just kind of picked him up and carried him in. Guys, this is Curtis Samuel. He's been injured 5 times since he has been in the NFL. He is not a consistent play, and if you can get anything for this guy, take it. He is not going to be a play. If you have him in Dynasty, please get rid of this cat. It's not going to work out for him in the NFL. I'm just telling you that right now.
Just before we get into the waiver wire, just a quick reminder. Our bye weeks are the Panthers, Colts, Jets, and 49ers.
The 1-9 49ers. What?
Yeah, dude. I mean, how disgraceful was that game? I mean,
no, you can't say that. The 49ers played a good football game.
No, I get it, but,
Don't do that. I got this. Don't belittle this.
I'm sorry, man. Can't go there.
Dude, you don't want to make me mad as we move forward.
We got a new segment called Oh, Tweet, Tweet, Goddamn. Oh, Tweet, Tweet.
Yeah, so we got a couple tweets on some fantasy questions that we want to tie into our waiver wire. And I think that we did this just so Chuck can sing that, because it's kind of cool, and he wants to say weird words.
Tweet, tweet, goddamn.
We need like a drop and just replay it. But anyway, first question comes from Srekt R. I'm sure I pronounced that way wrong. Should I drop Darren McFadden for Rod Smith? The answer is hell yes. If you listened to this podcast last week, we told you guys that it's Alfred Morris and huge drop-off, and then Rod Smith. Now, the snaps benefited Rod Smith big time, but you don't want to go overboard with that. You would prefer Alfred Morris is still the back to own right now. But here's the issue. Rod Smith ended up getting so much playtime because Chaz Green, the left tackle that stepped in for Tyron Smith, he could not block. He gave up 6 sacks to Adrian Claymore, and so they chip blocked, and he was the third down and a much better pass pro guy. So it still didn't work whenever they did it. But I'm telling you right now, Darren McFadden has zero value in any league. He's not somebody that you want to put a lot of stock into.
All right, I think that wraps it up.
We
tweet,
got one
tweet.
more.
No, we got more tweet, goddamn.
The next one comes from B Diggity 84. He asks, when is Greg Olsen back, and should we pick him up? And the answer is hell yes. Now, the Panthers are playing right now, but they have a bye week, and then they come back in week 12. Olsen is good to go. And I'm telling you this right now, he will be a top 4 tight end rest of year, especially with Samuel out now. You basically have Funchess, you've got Christian McCaffrey, and you've got him. You are talking about a target monster that has 3,000-yard receiving years in a row that is just going to light it up, and he's going to win somebody their fantasy championship. So go get that guy and just hang on to him for one more week. And just stash him, and you're going to be gold. So go check. And the reason why he's available in so many leagues is because when people are doing their waiver wire, they'll hit projection and pick up this week. Well, his projection is 0 because he's on IR. So a lot of people are missing over that. And that's just a quick side note. When you're doing your waiver wires and you filter the different fields, obviously you're going to look at who's going to do well this week. But look at the bye weeks, look at the injured reserve, and see who is coming off.
Sometimes I hate this podcast because it gives away all my secrets, okay? And that was one of them.
Yeah, it's something that's easy to overlook, but fantasy leagues are won by people that work. It's a grind, man, and it's a happy grind. It's happy.
It's a happy grind. That's probably an establishment. Okay. Man, I love that there's a certain guy on your waiver wire list.
Yeah.
It is making me happy to say that Blake Bortles is on number 1, the waiver wire list. Woo!
Man, I'll say this. The waiver wire for quarterback situation and streaming and all that stuff, it's always kind of rough to do. But this week, you've got to give Blake Bortles something. Now, he's the number 18 overall quarterback on the year. Having said that, he has Cleveland this week. You have to start everybody versus the Cleveland defense. And it just got worse. That's the thing. Their defense is even worse. They're playing like they've given up. Their coach is making the worst decisions in the world. Did you see at the end of the half when they ran the ball on the 4 and ran the clock out on themselves?
Not only that, but there's even more reports coming out about botched trades. More. It's just silly. The whole organization.
Everything is bad about. You got to get rid of Hugh Jackson. He's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like sometimes when you bring in a running backs coach, you should blame yourself. All right.
It is the easiest position to coach. Hashtag don't get mad at me, friends.
Hashtag true change. Okay.
Couple other waiver wire guys to pick up. Danny Woodhead, we've talked about him. Go get this guy. He's going to be a PPR stud moving forward. Dontrell Inman, oh my gosh, for the Bears. Totally killed it. He came in and I picked him up in all of my leagues and I got lazy and I dropped him just thinking, I don't want to wait 2 whole weeks for him to come back and all that stuff. And man, he came back and crushed it, which is saying a lot for the Bears. Now, moving forward, what does that look like? They don't really have anybody else to throw to. They are throwing to absolute trash. Just go get this guy. Again, he had 8 targets, 6 catches, 88 yards. He led the team in targets, yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but I'm telling you, this guy needs to be owned.
He's worth, a spot on your roster. Absolutely.
For sure.
Did you mention Samaje Perine already?
Samaje Perine, we talked about him earlier. You need to go get him. And also Corey Coleman. The coaching staff came out and said he is all systems go. He's back with a broken hand, and he is going to be, I think you got to play him because he's going to be a starter and get a lot of targets, and he has big play potential. So definitely pick him up. If you don't want to start him week 1, that's one thing. He's playing against the Jags, which he's probably going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, which hurts. But pick him up and stash him. See what happens.
Last guy on your list. Take it away.
Mercedes Lewis. I don't like it, but again, it's the Browns. They give up a touchdown a game to the tight end. And so, they lost the guy that was guarding him, Jamie Collins, who wasn't good. And now they're replacing him with somebody else that's even worse at that. So, go get him.
Gotcha. It's time for Game of the Week.
Who do we got this week? I'm going to let you introduce this one just so you feel good.
This is a pleasure and an honor to introduce this segment. It is Philly versus Dallas. I haven't looked forward to a game this much in a very long time. And part of that is because I really do respect Dallas. They are a true when healthy, that's a contender. That's a team that is no joke. But they're a little bit beat up, and that does bum me out because I don't care about the win. I think the Eagles are going to make it into the playoffs just fine. I want to face talent, and unfortunately, they don't. They might not have Tyron Smith. They're probably not going to have Sean Lee, and that is a big difference. So,
if you want to talk about like the top 3, or let's just say the top 4 players of this franchise, you got Dak, Zeke, Tyron Smith, and Sean Lee. And they are going to be out without 3 of their top 4 guys.
It's rough, but here's what I'll say. Let me make a quick little point about something, folks. So people have been saying, "Oh, the Saints so much better than the Eagles," and I'll say maybe at this current time, maybe they are. But here's the deal: who has suffered injuries and been able to recover? And Dallas, respect to Dallas for what they fought through. The Eagles. And there's other teams out there who have we lost Jason Peters, Darby, Jordan Hicks, and reminder that Fletcher Cox has missed 3 or 4 games this season, and we've still got the record that we've got. So, these teams, even though Dallas and Philly have a great game coming up this week, it can still mean a lot to when you fight through injuries. So Dallas is not out of it, though.
No, they're not. And if we're going to talk injuries, again, 49ers lead the NFL with most players on the IR. But yeah, back to Dallas. You have to downgrade every single person for the Cowboys fantasy-wise except for Jason Witten and Rod Smith. Now, I don't think Rod Smith is going to go out there and have a great game, but they've already showed us when they are behind and playing catch-up, Rod Smith is the guy. So he got 6 targets last week in the passing game, and I think that could go up. And Jason Witten, whenever they don't feel comfortable, it's a short just check down. Jason Witten doesn't even run routes. He runs 6 yards, posts up like basketball, and just stands there with his hands up. He's just an outlet, which is very, very intelligent. And Dak loves to check down. So I'm telling you right now, all Cowboys you do not want, and you want every single Philadelphia Eagle in your starting lineup. I don't care who they are, they need to start.
So I'll say this. A lot of respect for Dak. I think he's got a lot of upside. This kid's going to grow. I think he probably ends up with 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns this week because he's good at that. But I'll say there were 2 times in the Atlanta game he should have been picked off. He predetermined his throw. He didn't look at the coverage, and he just threw the ball.
That happens whenever you get sacked so many times.
That was early,
that's
though.
The thing.
That was early.
Yeah.
First quarter. So, he's got to really, change that and take the mental part of the game a little bit further.
He got sacked 8 times.
Oh, I thought it was 10. Is it 8?
I'm looking at this and seeing 8. Sometimes the classification for sacks are weird. Some sites count him if he pulls the ball down, starts to run, and still gets tackled for a loss. They don't count as a sack. But 10 tackles for loss, that's what I'm seeing. But 8 were registered as sacks.
Here's a guy who always kills us. Just a little fantasy for you. Beasley works us for some reason. Just about every game. He is one of the best at crossing routes. He's up there with Edelman and all those guys.
He is amazing. I love the way that guy plays, and he just doesn't really seem to get affected by much. Now, I will also say this. He completely goes out there, and it's every other game. It's weird. It's an every other game mentality, and he had a bad game last week. He only had 3 targets for 2 catches. So he's due. He's due.
Yeah, he's due. So, do you think stock down on Dak, though, really? Because I don't.
I think so, just because he is going to be sacked considerably. Now, if you look at what he did last week, he only threw for 176 yards, no touchdowns. And now his rush yards, 6 rushes for 42 yards and a touchdown. That's great. So whenever I say stock down, I had Dak as a top 4 quarterback. And so I'm saying definitely need to start him in all formats. But I'm saying he'll end around quarterback 10 to 14. That
Gotcha.
Philly defense is rough. There's going to be turnovers.
Yeah. Well, man, I can't wait for that game because I think that it's definitely going to, give us more information about both of those teams.
How much do you think Philly's going to win by?
Oh, well, man, I don't like to do
Dallas.
that. It's at Dallas. You can never really – you know what? That Dallas defensive line, super underrated. It's top 5 for me. Man, I don't know. I don't think we win by that much. I would say maybe a touchdown.
Just one?
Just a touchdown. Maybe not even that.
You guys are 4-point favorites on the road right now.
Yeah, I know, but it's the Cowboys.
Yep, you're right.
It's in our division.
Don't bet on division games, guys. Don't bet on division games.
It's always
if you learn nothing else here. Don't bet on division games.
All right, so last thing before our podcast, and I don't have necessarily a consequence in mind, but I'll say there is some crap football going on in this league, and there are some coaches who are going to pay. I have a feeling that there's going to be 4 coaches fired between here and the end of the season. I think McAdoo is one of those coaches. I think Hugh Jackson could be one of those coaches. I don't know, John. What do you say? 4? Do you think it could be more than that? Less than that? What's your feeling?
Man, so if I'm looking at this right now,
yeah,
McAdoo's gone. He's 100%. I think Fox should be gone with Chicago.
I don't think they will.
But man, if you look at what happened, look at the formula that the Rams did. Draft a young quarterback, build a solid D, bring in an offensive-minded coach in the second year, and you see him flourish.
Yeah.
Why not go with that? It's so far, why would you keep John Fox? They're 3-6. Man, I would fire him personally. I would have fired him last year. And I think Dirk Cutter for Tampa Bay. So that's 4. Let's see, who else? As far as fired coaches go.
What about the Dolphins? Gase.
No, you don't fire him. He was coach of the year last year. What about Indianapolis, man? I'd fire him too.
Pagano?
Yeah, I'd fire that guy big time. You ruined Andrew Luck's career, you huge piece of garbage.
That organization ruined Andrew Luck's career.
So we're saying 4 to 5. So you're saying before the last game is played?
before the last game, so before or during week 17, let's just say like on that day when the games are being played, I say four coaches.
So that
fired.
Monday on the Monday night game?
Monday night.
Okay. Is there even a Monday night game that week?
No, it's all Sunday. It's all Sunday.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep.
Hashtag science. So that Sunday, I'll tell you what. I will make this bet, and I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
But it has to be fired before the last kickoff. So the last game is Arizona at Seattle. It's a 1:25 Pacific kickoff, or 3:25 from where you're at. So when that game is kicked off, I'm saying 3 or less. You're taking 4 or more.
Here's why I'm laughing and I'm so tickled inside. Because just the way that the universe has treated John Chapman this season, I'm going to guarantee you it'll be right at 3, and just before kickoff, they're going to fire one more coach.
Or 2. I believe
or
it.
2. Seriously. Well, man, this has been a fun episode. I hope to see more from Tony Romo
what are we
and
betting?
Deon Sanders.
What are we betting?
Oh, man, we got to do a consequence? Okay, so here's what we got to do. You have to choose a song from Les Mis.
Oh, fuck that. You have the most, I don't know, estrogen-driven challenges. That's the most politically correct way I could say it.
Okay, fine. You choose one then, okay? I just dreamed a dream of time gone by. Whatever.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. You have to dress up as...
Wicked.
Is his name? No. Who's the old exercise guy? Like back in the 70s and 80s that would wear like the tank top and the headband?
Oh, yeah.
Simmons. Simmons stuff,
Yeah.
right? You have to go into a public place, like out a public square, and basically do a 45-second like workout commercial in front of public people and full-on Simmons gear.
Why are you talking like a caveman? Public people. In front
Public
of
people.
How about we just chill out on the public people?
Oh, you're so worried about what other people think, dude.
No, I don't. That's just complicated. It's going to be cold, man. It's going to be so cold outside.
Oh, wow. So you just want to do it like in your own confines of your own home?
Have your wife film you, and then you got to post it on YouTube.
Gosh, man. All right, that's cool. Sorry my stuff is too hardcore for you.
Or it's like, you're like, dress up like Bill Simmons. That's not estrogen-filled at all.
I know. It's testosterone they're working out. I thought about it when I was saying it.
You're like, dress up in spandex.
With a headband, though, for real.
Can we just sing, like, show tunes and just call it, a day? Okay, fine. All right, man. I can't wait to see you in that outfit. Actually, I can.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful. And if I lose this, like, I'm going to just wear some of my wife's stuff.
I can't wait, because, like, if I do lose this bet, I'm going to wear that around the house all the time. No one's going to stop me. All right. Weirdest podcast ever today.
Man. I like that we just keep making it more weird. We're definitely finding our little niche, and it's in Creepville. That's where we live. Yep.
All right, man. I don't know how. I'm gonna say goodbye, like just shaking your hand with a real feminine hand, just real limp. Bye. Bye podcast.
See you guys. Take care.
Bye, public people.